You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line, and we do have a new caller today. So let's get started with that.
Hey, Pack Daddy. First-time caller, long-time listener. I've been listening to you since you used to number the episodes. Anyway, I've almost called probably a dozen times or more, but, you know, something always came up or whatever, and I didn't call, and some other caller would always take care of it. But, okay, so basically the Packers beat the Bears this weekend on a block field goal to preserve a 1-point lead and win the game. It reminded me of a game that happened a long time ago. It was basically memorable because it was the week that Walter Payton died.
Oh, wow.
So I looked it up. Walter Payton passed away on November 1st, 1999. And the game was held in Green Bay, Packers-Bears, Lambeau Field, November 7th, 1999. The Packers were trailing 14-13, and Brett Favre drove them down to like the 11-yard line. And Ryan Longwell lined up for the kick, and somebody named Robinson blocked the kick. The game was memorable because the Bears didn't declare that they were going to play the game for Walter Payton, but after the fact, they tried acting like, we knew all along we were playing for Walter. Walter died, and, you know, Walter Payton died, and we played for Walter. So now the Packers go on the road to Soldier Field, November 17th, 2024. Exactly 25 years and 10 days after the Walter Payton Memorial game. I just thought that was kind of crazy.
Very cool.
Oh, by the way, I didn't actually say what I should be called. Go with AJJ, because I'm a JJ. I am not the JJ. JJ lady.
All right.
So I am a JJ, AJJ. Anyway, keep up the good work. I've been listening to you forever. You know, I appreciate that you make the week fun between games, and you keep the off season interesting also. So thank you for that. Anyway, hopefully we do well against the Niners and have a good week.
I appreciate that, and thanks for calling in. Finally, been waiting for you, AJJ. That's going to get just rolled into like AJJ, like Anthony Johnson Jr., you know, AJJ. It's all right, though. It's all good. Just thought I'd look a little bit here to see kind of how that season went. It was not a good season. In fact, this is the one Ray Rhodes season. Sherm Lewis was the offensive coordinator. Emmett Thomas was the D coordinator. I'm just trying to see if I recognize any of these names here. Mike McCarthy was our quarterback's coach, so there you go. I remember Mike Tregovac. I don't know why I remember that. He was our defensive line coach. Joe Vitt sounds familiar, but I'm probably just thinking of Joe Witt. But 8-8 season, 10th ranked offense, 20th ranked defense, which is not far from where we're at right now. They were 7-5 when they beat the Bears. They went on to lose the next three and then beat the Cardinals to end at 8-8. Not a super good season. Matt Hasselbeck played actually a little bit in that season. He didn't start at all, but he had 3 completions. So there you go. 10 attempts, 3 completions. Every once in a while you get some kind of cool, like, oh, look how many similarities there are. Not a ton of similarities. But that is cool, and I do appreciate that callback. All right, Kyle. The heck you got going on, man?
What's up, Kyle from Madison? It is Victory Monday. How are you?
Good.
It is always freaking great when it's Victory Monday. I have been enjoying the Schadenfreude of this last 24 hours. And look, I'm going to say some things, but I want to make sure I stay up front. I'm not absolving Packers from making mistakes. They played like a C-plus level game.
Sure.
Whatever. Okay, so I'm not absolving them. There's things we need to talk about for the Packers that weren't working great. But we did win the game. And look, I think this week, you were a little bit uncomfortable talking about how they were going to be switching their coordinators. They fired their coordinator.
Yeah.
And for good reason. I think that, while sometimes that's a little overblown, you do see, what do they call it, the dead cat bounce with coaches. But I think coordinators is particularly troublesome because it's the rare instance in the NFL where in the middle of the season, suddenly you get truly unscouted looks and the tendencies are you have no idea what the tendencies are. And that's pretty rare in the NFL. And I thought that the Bears were smart and they took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Because, look, I could just see the plan. They've been watching all week the Patriots just sacking Williams like every other play.
Sure.
All those pass rushers are just ready to eat, ready to pad those stats, And the Bears were really smart, man. They whenever Caleb Williams had the ball for 2.75 to 3 seconds, he had guys on him. I thought I saw that he was getting it out in under 2.2. Well, look, man, you're not going to get to a quarterback. He can barely even run that far in that distance or in that time, So, it was a really smart plan by the Bears. And then they, supplemented a little bit more of the screen game, not ad nauseum, but they were smart about how they kind of wore down the pass rush, and then they did the rest with Williams' legs, and they did a lot of things against Tennessee. So you got to give them some credit, too, I think. I think one thing that we need to know, though, is now that this has worked to a degree against us, and while not everybody has the personnel, we're going to see this kind of thing again and again until we can solve it. So they better buckle up for that. As far as a lot of people being upset about, the how much we won by or whatever, I don't want to get into a situation where a loss is a loss and a near win is a loss.
Yeah, yeah.
If you look back since our winning streak started, 4 of the 11 games have been one-possession games. So, I fully expected that to be the case this year. It's a win. We got things to work on. But, let's at least enjoy this glorious victory against our hated rivals. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think you're right. And again, I've been trying to balance that all week because, I agree with everybody because I don't necessarily think they're mutually exclusive. I do understand, again, you don't want a loss or a near win to also be seen as a loss. But I also understand saying, yeah, but of all games, and again, I think it's because we got hung up on, but this is the worst team in football, which is fair, except for the part where they didn't play like the worst team in football, at all. So I think we just have to be honest about that reality, as much as that might feel like a bit of a cop-out. I don't think it is a cop-out. I think it's just a reality. I think the reality is they played a much better brand of football. I think their defense was still relatively stout, and I think their offense was significantly better. In fact, maybe I'll work on that. It wouldn't be for tomorrow because that podcast is already done. Maybe in a couple days we'll look at it. Don't want to get too hung up on the Bears for an entire week when we got the 49ers coming up. Tomorrow is about the 49ers, by the way. But maybe just to kind of put a little bit of a, I don't know, just to analyze it a little bit more clearly and to kind of show what I'm saying. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And then we won't talk about it. But look at Caleb Williams and what he did in this. I already showed you PFF, significantly better. And you could say, well, that's because he was going up against a bad defense. Maybe it was just because we were so sucky that was the case. But I don't think so. So maybe I'll dig a little bit into some of his stats for the season. Some of the things that, the Packers don't have anything to do really with his accuracy, right? If you airmail a ball, you airmail a ball. And he didn't really do that as much. So just kind of look at some of the statistics and kind of show that, while the Bears historically had been a terrible football team, and not all year, but certainly recently, remember, they were a lock playoff team for a while. Or not a lock, but it was certainly looking like they were going to be in the playoffs. They were, I believe, ahead of us for quite a while, but this was not the same team that we saw against the Patriots, I think is a needed takeaway from that. So I guess overall I'm with you on the fact that you're not excusing the negative, and there was negative, but you don't want to get so wrapped up in I wish it was better that you end up complaining about a win, especially against the Bears. So I'm with you.
So 3-minute monster got me, but I was just going to say, too, these have been historically close games, regardless of, record of teams. Sometimes they're not, but like what is that? 37% of the time they are one possession games. We had one last year. One wasn't, one was. It's their rivalry games, man. I mean, I don't think you can discount that. So, anyway, can we though? I think, man, I sent you a clip on one of the Bears post game, and the best part about the whole thing. Well, there's a lot of best parts, but is the guy's draft crush was Carl Brooks.
Oh yeah.
He's just lamenting the fact that, of course, it was Brooks who blocked the field goal.
Yeah.
Of course, it was just freaking beautiful.
It is. But
can we we've got to. I don't think we do our fan responsibilities at all if we don't at least say, hey, tip of the hat to freaking special teams, the dregs of the team, the whipping boy of our team. Just terrible forever. And lo and behold, in the darkest times before the dawn, when all hope is gone, right? We're resigned to the fact that there's no possible way that anything's going to happen except that field goal going through. And what happens but special teams? And it sounds like they saw this on film. I keep hearing about how Bisaccia said, we're going to block at least one field goal this game. So it isn't like it's just they worked, they saw it, they drew it up, and they executed it. Hey, man, special teams won us the freaking game. I'm saying it again. Special teams won us a game. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
That boy. Holy crap. What a play on special teams. All right. Peace.
Yeah, and that goes back to, we sometimes, especially the more negative fans, and I can get caught up in it once in a while too, but we want to overemphasize and complain about things that are bad, and then we ignore things that are good. How many times have we heard calls about how terrible the special teams are? And they were right about all those things. However, now thank you, Kyle, where are the calls from people saying, hey, great job to special teams? No, instead it's, what's up with the frickin' tackling? What's up with the defense? What's up with this? What's up with that? Yeah, I was thinking about this before when, there's obviously we live in an environment now where there is no like news. There's just like these people are on this side and these people are on this side. But I was thinking about, bias and whatnot, and nobody wants to admit their bias. And why do they say that? Because everything they're saying generally is true. That's not always the case. But let's just say the problem is where is the bias in those things? It's what you choose to talk about. Right? If you're on like the blue team against the red team, I literally did not even mean for those to be political colors. I just tried to come up with random crap. Okay, if you're the green team against the brown team, I'm so stupid. If you're the elephant against the donkey, but if you're the green team and you only accurately report about the negative parts about the brown team and only accurately report about the good things about the green team, it's not that you're lying, but it's not true that because you're telling the truth, you're unbiased. That's not true. It's what you choose to talk about. And again, I think fans, positive and negative, do that. I'm not a negative fan. I'm just a realistic fan. And then they list all these things, and all those things are true. The problem is you're only talking about the true bad things, and you're not talking about the true good things. And that can be said about the positive people as well. We won. Yeah, that's one of the positives. Very good. We're 7-3 or whatever. Yeah, no, that is good. That's true. Can be biased in a lot of different ways and also be entirely truthful in every single thing that you say. That's why I stopped watching... I used to like watching a lot of debates and stuff because people are, when you find really smart people, you can learn a lot of stuff. What I realize, though, is that really all you're doing is finding really smart people who find really good points in favor of what they want to believe, and then they just go on telling really intelligent and really true things about stuff that makes what they want to believe to be true, and you're not actually really getting anywhere. It's basically an elevated version of the same stupid crap you hear on social media. It's just more intelligently and eloquently spoken. Anyways, Nate Dogg.
Hey, Ryan, it's Nate. I was just chillaxing today, and I had a thought, and it really made me. I think about Aaron Rodgers and what he could have been, like what his legacy could have been. Let's just set aside the guy was great for us for years. sure, yes, but just not a great person. But the thing that I realized is he could have went out as the biggest legend that Green Bay has ever had, ever in history. So he could have retired, just been like, all right, I'm done with the Green Bay Packers. I'm getting up there in years. He could have went off to be the host of Jeopardy. He had so many opportunities, so many good paths.
He had a political career. Think about that. RFK wanted him to be like his vice president or something crazy. And he's like, nah, I'm going to play with the Jets. And then the Jets imploded and RFK has now got some, I don't know if Rodgers would have been tagged along or whatever, but, you know, like you said, he's got options. He got Jeopardy over here. He's got political career, and maybe that'll continue later. But whatever else he was potentially going to do was more than likely going to be much more successful than continuing to play football, which is really unfortunate because football is what made him successful. So to look at the one thing that you're really failing at, being the one thing that kind of puts you in this place to begin with, is not, you just hate to see guys go out like that, you know? I understand not wanting to leave, but it's like, why do you guys always have to just do it too long? You just do it too long.
And the guy chose to go to the Jets. And now we get to see the repercussions of all that. They're 3-8. They're 3-8. Aaron Rodgers is 3-8 with Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson as his wide receiver. He's got 2 number 1 wide Oh, dude, he could have been Mr. Lambeau. Like, yeah, he said some weird stuff at the end and he was a little controversial. For sure. But you look at the last guy who came through Lambeau, he's got way worse stuff on his record. That would have been a minor offense. If Rodgers could have just stopped talking, would have just off some island, just go relax, man, or go do Jeopardy. Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it, but I can't say he doesn't deserve it. Go back, go.
Yeah, and again, I hate to be like the one cheering for his demise over here, considering the circumstances, but I can't help but feel like he's the one that put himself in that situation. You went out the door with 2 big middle fingers pointed right at the Green Bay Packers saying, I'll show you. What am I supposed to do? Say, yeah, I hope you win and the Packers fail. That'll show us, right? Of course I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. I'm not a Jets fan. I'm not a Rodgers fan. I'm a Packers fan. It's the reason I rooted for Rodgers to begin with, is because all those touchdowns he threw were for the Packers. It's the whole freaking point. So, yeah, I guess his vengeance tour not coming to fruition probably exactly played out how I would hope that it would have played out. So here we are. Let's take a break. Hear from Beer Cheese Benny.
Nothing to do with the Packers, really. Well, it kind of does. So, sitting here on a Monday, my wife's like, well, what do you want to have for dinner? And I'm like, well, I don't know if we really have anything. Like, she's like, you want to go out?
That was the end of the call. What happened? Oh, you gave your wife the wrong answer and she freaking killed him. So, good knowing your Beer Cheese Benny. What the heck happened there? Okie doke, he did not call back. So, it's good knowing Beer Cheese while it lasted.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? Hey, Ron from Eau Claire calling. Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to call in during or after the game yesterday, but it's Monday evening, and man, what an ending. I was just sitting on my couch, like, depressed. I was like, oh, they're going to kick this field goal and win. And, like, the idea of that happening was just, like, the worst. And then they blocked it, and I was just, like, jumping up and down, like, screaming at the time. I was like, yeah, you know. And it was just the coolest moment. Kind of reminded me of, like, the Lions game with the Rodgers Hail Mary a few years back. Just that, like, kind of like, well, I guess we're toast. And then just complete shock and surprise. I think what makes it even better is the fact that it was actually based on skill. It wasn't just like, oh, he just missed it. But it was like they actually had prepared for that moment, and that's what led to the result. So I think that was kind of cool. It wasn't just like a fluky thing. maybe a little fluky, but it was also based on their preparation, which is really cool. Yeah, but I'm not gonna.
By the way, and I may have mentioned this before, but very annoyed with the Chiefs having done exactly that. They won the game because of a block. You lucky bastard. And then you look at it and it's like, oh, they broke it down to like they watched and they saw that they were doing this and they waited for that right moment and then they attacked that weakness and that's how they did it. And then you see the Packers doing that same thing and it's like, holy crap, dude, that's crazy. It was entirely based on we were watching for tells, we were watching for this, that, or the other. And if you saw on social media, I posted a image. 5 of their offensive linemen were down on their back. So there was a lot of skill involved in that.
So yeah, I was thrilled with the performance other than that. Other than just amassing, some solid yardage down the field on offense. I thought Josh Jacobs was phenomenal. I thought Jordan Love mostly looked good except for when he was in the red zone, but at least he didn't completely, like he didn't throw a pick six.
Sure.
And when he did throw an interception, it was at least the other side of the field, so it was kind of manageable, I guess, or should have been manageable for a defense that could stop anybody. But yeah, then the defense was just so stressful all day. To their credit, 19 points isn't that much, and they're still a top 15 unit in pretty much all the major statistics. So, I don't know. I mean, the defense definitely did not look good for most of the game, but again, they had some limitations and injuries and stuff, so I don't know. It's just that front four that's just killing them. They're not getting any pressure. So anyways, but on to the next game.
Yeah, the pressure remains a problem. That's for sure. I haven't really checked it in a little while, but the pressure percentage right now for the Green Bay Packers, they rank 26th in the NFL at generating pressure, period, regardless of, it's the front four, it's blitzing the linebackers, doing this, that, or the other, doesn't matter. Overall, they are 26th, which is freaking rough. The teams that are worse are very bad teams. The Saints, the Raiders, the Jaguars, the Cardinals are not terrible. Panthers and Falcons. Eagles are also basically tied with us, so they're in a similar boat, struggling to generate pressure. But, yeah, it's a problem. It's definitely then sack percentage. Green Bay Packers are actually 15th, which is not bad. So their pressure to sack ratio is actually relatively high, which is unusual for the Packers. They're usually a very pressure-heavy team, but they are not very good at sacks. Should also be noted that they are 28th in blitzing. So they almost never bring extra guys, like ever. Eagles, Bills, 49ers, and Jaguars are the only teams that blitz less than the Green Bay Packers. So less blitzing probably is going to equate to less pressure. That's just the way it goes. You hope that the trade-off would be better in coverage, but who knows? For example, like the Vikings are 7th in pressure, but they are like 2nd in blitzing. Denver's number 1 in blitzing and 6th in pressure. So there's going to be some correlation there. The pressure is going to remain low as long as they don't bring extra guys. Again, you want to be able to generate pressure with your front four. I wish I could check that on here, but I don't think I can. I know with SIS I could, but I do not have that anymore. Well, I can do this. So with no blitz, the Packers are a little better, but they still rank 21st. So all things being equal, even without blitzing, the Vikings are, for example, 5th, even when they don't blitz at generating pressure. Bears are 12th. Lions are 17th. Packers are 21st. So it's an issue. However, when we do blitz, they're 5th in getting pressures. It seems to me we should blitz more. We're the 5th most successful team at generating pressure when we blitz, and we're one of the team to least blitz. When we blitz, 47.1% pressure rate. So it's like 50-50. We send a blitz, 50% chance we're going to get to the quarterback. Also, just for fun, I looked at the time to throw. because the thought that I had was, well, maybe it's that the coverage is so bad, et cetera, et cetera. If you look at the Packers 2.5 seconds or later, they're still outside the top 20 when it comes to pass rush. So it's just that they're not getting home. That's it. That's all there is to it. We're not blitzing, and the only way that we create pressure is with blitzing. So.
Hey, Ryan, it's Jersey Mike.
What's up?
So I now realize that I can't scream into the phone. It's just not possible. I try my hardest normally when I call in to not scream or raise my voice. Because such a dead call. Oh my God. You didn't hear a word I said. It essentially went like this. I want the frickin' Lions. You tell me that this team isn't ready for the Lions, and I will tell you you're wrong. You might say, they almost lost to the Chicago Bears. Okay, here's the deal. We're coming off a bye week. We are notoriously poor coming out of the bye week. I don't know why. I don't know what Matt LaFleur is doing, but we notoriously come out slow and limping out of the bye week. So that's what we did today. Right. Yet every single thought process in my brain said we was going to lose that game. And that's just how it happened. Unless Carl Brooks gets a paw on there, we don't win, right? But that's not true. If Carl Brooks doesn't get a paw on it, we don't win. If the defense don't get a stop for Jordan Love to go down there, we don't win. If Brandon McManus isn't able to put that kick through the upright because of the box snap, we don't win. If Keyshawn Nixon fumbles the ball, we don't win. If Jaden Reed doesn't get that 20-ish yard punt return, we don't win. I mean, this is a game of inches. This is a game of inches, and what I saw Sunday from the Green Bay Packers is, I don't care. I'm going to take as many inches back as I have to, no matter how many times you steal them away from me. And what we saw during the Detroit Lions game was we're ready to fight. Now what I want is I want our team to go up against the damn Detroit Lions and put them down where they belong at the veterinary's office, ready to be euthanized. Because I am sick and tired of watching the Detroit Lions go up on everybody, knowing that we full and well had them within the ass beating of their lives this season, and we made mistakes and beat them. I think this team is ready. I think this team is hungry. I think this team is violent. I think this team is evil. Evil in a good way. Oh, Xavier McKinney pushing Caleb Williams out of bounds and making him fly. You want to know why that call was thrown? Because, I don't know, guys by the name of Isaiah McDuffie and the likes, they were getting rough from the jump. That's how you play defense. This offense, Jordan Love is balling out. Christian Watson is balling out. Josh Jacobs is already over 1,000 scrimmage yards. We are on a next level trajectory.
Part 2 right now.
This is Jersey Mike again. I got cut off. But anyway, we in for the ride of our lives. So you got to buckle up, all right?
You have to say it's 3-minute monster. I'm sorry, that's the rules.
Put your 4-point racing harness on, okay? Get ready, because we about to launch like a top-fuel dragster and hit corner one like we need a Formula One car, and I don't know what else is about to happen. This team is all boom or bust. We got a bunch of young superstars ready to just take off. Marshawn Lloyd is back. I'm telling you, he's going to be back after this appendicitis. Give it a week. He's going to be back. And I've just been waiting. I mean, watching him and Wilson and whatever the heck the Brooks is in the backfield behind Jacobs, they've been good. I am not worried about this team. Y'all need to start getting hyped. I'm sorry you couldn't hear me at the end of the game, but let me tell you, I was screaming my head off because that's how you play football. Hard, gritty, to the end. Never give up. Get your paw on that last ball and win the freaking game. We have watched so many games get away from us like that. It's time we start winning them. It's time we start taking them for ourselves. Anyway, go Pack, go on to the next one, baby.
Well, I love the perspective. The big test of what you're saying, whether it's true or not, is going to come this week against the 49ers, right? I mean, not coming off a bye, really no excuses, generally pretty healthy. So, yeah, they should play hard. They should be able to beat the 49ers, I guess, right? I mean, I would assume if they can beat the Lions, they can beat the 49ers. So that'll be the big test, I guess. We'll see how she goes. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back and hear from Daniel in California.
Quay Walker got a 62 overall grade. I don't know, man. I've seen this guy clear and hold, just miss tackles. Like, I don't get it. Do I need to watch the game over? Because, like, universally, everybody just thought that was a horrible game, and he gets a 62. It doesn't make sense. Do I need to watch it? I don't want to. Like, even if, like, because...
Come on back to us. He's still there, believe it or not. Here he goes.
Like, that's enough to drop him to 50. I don't get it. Even if he just averaged the rest of the game, he should be in the 50s. I don't get how he's got a 62. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And that happens. Again, I went over the grades, and the biggest thing was that he graded out really well in coverage, which is somewhat unusual for him. I think all of us saw him play pretty poorly, and what we saw was him playing poorly against the run and tackling and all that, and PFF agreed with that. So there's no real disagreement. It's just kind of how it all averaged out, I guess, that the run defense was not great, not abysmal, but it was below average, and then the coverage was above average. And when you have a big-time pass breakup like that, you're going to have that. So, I mean, I wouldn't sweat it. It's not the biggest issue in the world that, we want his grades to be low to reflect how much we hate him. No offense, Quay. We love you, but there's some frustration here. But yeah, I wouldn't let that make you lose any sleep or whatnot. Certainly could go back and watch it. I have no intention of doing that. Last thing I want to do is sit and watch every snap of Quay Walker in a game.
Ryan, what's up, buddy? Kyle from Madison.
What's up?
So I know we're going to be moving on here, talking about the Niners. Actually, we probably aren't. By the time this airs, you probably played 6 episodes of Laughing with the Enemy. But assuming eventually we move on to the Niners, I just wanted to call something out for its just amazing Green Bay excellence in this game that I think, if you haven't talked about it already, we got to bring some attention to this. So I should have done my homework before the call. I apologize. But it's either the first or the third quarter. The Packers offense is going left to right. I think it's the third quarter. And Love hits Jacobs on the camera side, or the near sideline towards the camera on a check down swing pass to the right. And I think he takes it for like 20-something yards. But halfway through his run, the Bears quarterback, Jalen Johnson's got like an angle, but he's still like 10 yards away. And you could just kind of see them lock eyes. And I think Jalen Johnson's thinking, all right, maybe he'll just go out of bounds.
Yeah.
And Jacobs, and you can hear him on the camera, and you can see his lips moving. He starts talking junk to Jalen Johnson while he's running full speed down the sidelines. You hear him saying, "Come get this," or "Come and get it."
Right.
Bleep, bleep. Meaning, like, I ain't going out of bounds. You come and get this. And he's talking junk as the play is going, as he's running full speed. And sure enough, Jalen Johnson comes down, and Jacobs, freaking true to his word, just lowers the boom and just puts his freaking shoulder right into his chest. Oh, it was magnificent, man. And I hope the NFL Films camera crew that's there has that on their more cinematic setup that they have, that they edit in. I don't know what show that does that every week now. It used to be Inside the NFL on HBO. Maybe it still is. It's on a different channel maybe. But hopefully they got that cut up because, man, I just fell out of my chair laughing. It was one of the most awesome things I saw all day. So I just wanted to bring that to your listeners' attention in case they might have missed it or got up for a beer or something. Just go look at the highlights. You'll see it. I think it's in the third quarter, but magnifique. Okay, on to the Niners.
Yeah, absolutely love that. I'm sure most of us have seen it. It's all over social media, but yeah, they showed that kind of slowed down. A lot of guys, national shows or whatever, showed that as well. He gets around the corner and makes eye contact with him and gestures with his hand like, "Come on, let's go." And he didn't exactly clean his clock, but he ran right through him and ended up going out of bounds. But yeah, he loves contact. He's not going to run away from it, and he's going to just dare you. Like, come get this right now. Like, don't run away from me. Come and hit me. Gotta absolutely love that. I'm sure the Packers love that. That's exactly what they want in a running back.
Hey, I have a follow-up question for you. I'm listening to you do the PFF grades. I always appreciate that. I know some people have issues with it, but, it's like, I just assume that even sometimes it can be a little bit inexplicable, like the grading. I just assume that carries through all the teams. And so in an imperfect and subjective world of subjective data, player grading, it seems like as good of an answer as any to at least give us a little bit of a glimpse into how these players are performing. Now, my question is, in a vacuum, it's great to know, like, on the team how guys are grading out, but without having to look at every other player for every other team, is there a way, and maybe you do this and I'm just stupid, but I know you've got access to Dave and DVOA and all that, but just using, like, PFF, if I want to compare the Packers as a team to a different team using PFF, when you're picking teams in Madden and it just dumbs it down to you, like, here's 3 metrics and how many stars or whatever. Is PFF, is there a way for you to compare? I don't know if it's average grades or how they use that, but where do the Packers stack up in the NFC and even in the AFC based on, like, PFF grades? And is there a snapshot that's worth a damn that you can condense down into idiot form for me and just say, here's kind of 10 sentences about where we rate on offense and here's how we do on defense, and I don't know. Distill that information down just so I can understand how we, without it just being an offensive ranking and a defensive ranking, maybe something with a little more depth as far as how we rate within the broader scope of the league. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Well, I know these calls come in a little bit before I'm getting to them, so I think I've covered a decent amount about that, and then tomorrow is going to be much more in-depth about exactly what you're talking about. But, for example, and I don't know if this is what you mean. I know you said kind of simple, but then at the end you said more in-depth, so I'm not positive. But, again, the PFF, the overall team grade is a 73, which ranks 22nd. The offensive grade that they give us is a 74, 73.7, which ranks 18th. And then the defensive grade, they have 23rd with a 63.2. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole thing because my brain is fried talking about it. But it is. I really like tomorrow's episode. I'm actually planning on expanding on the concept and the general concept. And I've talked about this before, but it's we shouldn't just look at things like this. Like, okay, so our PFF grade is a 73. We're ranked 22nd, so we're the 22nd best team. That's not only is that not true, that's not even what they're telling us. They may try to claim that that's how they have people ranked, but I don't think that if you asked people at PFF, they would say that we're the 22nd best team. I think what it's saying is that it, from their perspective, is the 22nd ranked individual player grades, which sounds like we're saying the same thing, but it's really not. For 2 reasons. Number one, there's more than just players involved. There's coaching and play calling and all that kind of stuff. But then in addition to that, like I've said, PFF grades are kind of in a sense, like a consistency grade, and the Packers are very inconsistent. So, they may have a hard time finding any player that's good from week to week to week, but generally on a given game, you got a bunch of guys that can show up. There's guys that are very inconsistently good, but there's the guys that are inconsistently bad, which is to say almost the same thing. Whereas some teams will have some superstars and then a bunch of guys that just kind of stay bad. We don't really have a bunch of superstars at all, if any. But we don't have a lot of guys that never really contribute. Stokes is consistently bad, and Quay, I think, is consistently bad. And Lucas Van Ness is consistently bad. Kenny is consistently bad. But there's, 75% of the roster or so that on a given week can be top of the class. So it really just depends, what the heck do I want to know specifically? And then figuring out which grade or which stat or whatever most closely aligns with what it is that I'm looking for.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
What's up?
I haven't called in since November 4th, the day after they lost to Detroit Lions, and I called in with that rant talking about how Dan Campbell had barbecued LaFleur's balls. And I still can't help but think that LaFleur is just, I think he's he's in a slump when it comes to certain play calls. Their red zone offense is it's 29th in the league right now, and it probably after the Bears game is probably even worse. I just don't know what to think. These guys are just, I don't know what they need to do to figure this out, but it's been too long into the season for them to be having these issues for this long of a period. I just don't know what's something is not clicking right. And I don't know what to say about Jordan. Jordan is kind of like that girlfriend on the Jerry Seinfeld episode where he's dating this girl and meets her in broad daylight.
Oh, yeah.
And she's beautiful and everything. And then he goes to pick her up one night in the dark and she looks like death warmed over. I feel like that's what we're getting with Love. He just, in the light, he's just awesome. Then when things go dark, he just plays scary. And I just don't know what to think. It's just mind-boggling right now. I'm just frustrated with it. The game against the Bears, I've never wanted to puke so much in my life watching how they played. It was a terrible effort. It was just bad coaching decisions. And the guys just didn't show up. I don't think the coaches and the players did not show up for this game. I'm sorry. They underestimated the Bears, if you ask me. They really underestimated this team. So let's just hope they get their act together against a Niners team that's coming in that's going to be dangerous and fighting for everything they got to try to save their season. So they're basically going to be an animal cornered in a room somewhere and they're trying to put a bag over his head. So they're going to give us the fight of their life. So I hope they're ready for it. Right now I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in a lot of things. So they need to turn it around or this season just is going to be another first game in the playoff and exit like so many other times with Rodgers. I'm out.
Yeah, and it's like I said, we are fortunate enough that our record is probably going to carry us into the playoffs. I don't know that for sure. We could certainly just fall off a cliff and miss the playoffs. But our record is really giving us an advantage here to where we've got a pretty solid shot of, I don't know what the number is, 70, 80% of getting into the playoffs here. Even with, obviously we're playing the Vikings again, we're playing the Lions again, we're playing the 49ers. Even with all that, the odds are very much in our favor. So the question, again, really just comes down to what team is going to be there when the playoffs come, because we don't know what that team is. We know it's not going to be this team. Could be worse, could be better, we don't know. But we're in a good enough position right now that pending some kind of an absolute doom disaster scenario, we're going to be in there competing. But I get it. And if Jersey Mike is wrong and if we play poorly again, and you got a good point with the 49ers. This is a good team with their back against the wall. Their odds of making the playoffs drops to below 20%, I think, if they lose to the Packers. So this is a cornered animal getting healthy. Well, I shouldn't say that they've got some injury issues, but if we come out flat and lose to the 49ers, it's going to be hard to try to maintain a high level of optimism and excitement about the team and what they're going to be able to do. But one week at a time.
So here's an analogy of how I feel it has been having Jordan Love as the quarterback the last few years for Green Bay. It's like meeting this really hot Victoria's Secret model
He's got
online.
A lot of hot women.
And it's a long-distance relationship where you just get to date through Zoom calls for the first year. And things are kind of start off rocky, but then they turn off really, really great. And you think, okay, this is going so well, it's time to make a commitment to this girl. You sell everything you have and you buy a $15,000 engagement ring. And you finally get to meet her in person. And you ask her to marry you. And then you find out she has this genetic disorder where she has really bad BO. And then you find out everything she cooks, she burns. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck with this really pretty girl who has really bad BO and burns everything she cooks.
Yeah, I get it.
So you just have to learn just to hold your nose when you go for walks. And you just have to learn to eat really big lunches before you go home every night. Because it just seems like getting the good and the ugly at the same time right now. Can she learn to cook better? Yeah. Is there hope that someday they'll figure out what the disorder is and
there'll be
they can eliminate that BO? Maybe. I don't know. Time will tell.
Garrett calls in again. If this is not a ugly, attractive woman analogy, I'm going to be disappointed.
Ryan, I pause to say this, but I say it because I know how much it just makes you so angry.
Okay.
And I love riling you up.
All right. Fair enough.
This wouldn't be happening. Green Bay wouldn't be playing this bad if they hadn't just played in the preseason. Play the starters in the preseason, this wouldn't happen.
God. Oh boy, that is a stretch, and I'll take it. I mean, I'm assuming you're joking, but I'll take that a step further. If anything, this is evidence that the whole preseason thing is nonsense. It takes this team 10, 11 weeks to figure it out. The hell does 4 drives do in the preseason? Nonsense.
Ryan, Kyle from Madison again. Sorry to keep calling you. However, something has just come to my attention, which I absolutely must comment on. I noticed that the Jets have just fired their GM, Joe Douglas.
Yeah.
Which, if I was a petty Packers fan, I'd be out pulling receipts right now of all the Jake Assmans of the world, all of the Jets YouTubers who told me, first of all, and if I ever hear the word leverage used applied to football negotiations again, it'll be too soon after that summer. But I was told how stupid my little podunk team is and how Joe Douglas is playing three-dimensional chess in the future in every dimension simultaneously.
I heard that.
And we were playing checkers in the dirt. Interesting how that worked out. If I was petty, I'd be out there just dredging out icy cold Jets takes now. Just dredging the internet for icy cold Jets takes. But I'm not petty.
No.
But if I was, that's sure what I'd be doing. Because my God, you want to talk about egg on face. I mean, and such a perfect encapsulation of the difference between a garbage organization and one of the legacy organizations of the NFL. Okay? I'm sure the national media won't be covering this. And again, if I was petty, I'd be pulling receipts right now. But, I'm not. So you have a good day.
I may save this to elaborate on tomorrow because I feel like there's a lot here to really just stick the knife in and twist. But let me just give you something to chew on real quick. Tell me what exactly the difference is between the Jets and what they did with Rodgers and Tampa Bay and what they did with Tom Brady. Because you'll notice they are nearly identical. Nearly identical. You've got a struggling team that has a great defense that goes out and gets a Hall of Fame quarterback who then decides that he wants to go bring all his friends with him to win championships, and they go on to win Super Bowls. But the Jets, what happened with the Jets? And let me ask you, why the difference? Why the difference? Something to ponder. Something to ponder indeed. All right, why don't I leave you with that? We got 13 more calls. We're really starting to catch up here pretty quick, so I don't want to go too rapid fire. How about I serenade y'all? Let's do another song. I'm enjoying this new version 4 that they got. What could we do? Oh, I know. Let's make fun of the Jets and their situation. You guys have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Woke up this morning, Lord have mercy. My team was 3-8. 3-8, oh brother. Got them Woody Johnson blues. Got Lord, my team just can't play straight. Oh, Woody, why won't you sell this team? Please sell the team. Oh, Woody, why won't you sell this team? Lord, we're begging. Got them Jersey blues so bad, everything's falling apart at the seams. Sayer packed his boxes, coach is gone. Douglas followed right behind. Oh Lord. Now the circus running wild. While Woody's lost his mind. Oh, Woody, why won't you sell this team? Please sell the team. Oh, Woody, why won't you sell this team? Lord, we're begging. Got them Jersey blues so bad, everything's falling apart at the seams. Rogers brought him in. Thought we had it made. 4 plays later, season's over. Now we're back in shape. 3-8. Lord have mercy. 30 years of pain. Every season promises change. Every season stays the same. Got them Jersey blues now. Hashtags trending high. Sailor team keeps rising. Keep on rising. While our hopes just die.